incendie partout.
What's going on there, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circular Jerks podcast. It's our weekly live stream where we talk about news, current events, philosophy, as well as our movie review. Tonight we'll be continuing our theme this month of Devil in the Details with 1987's Angel Heart, starring Mickey Rourke, Robert De Niro, and Lisa Bonet. And with me, as ever, is the homeboy Rob.
Yeah. What's going on, man? What's going on, everybody?
Happy Tuesday, if you could believe it.
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, my voice is starting to go a little bit, but that's, hey, it's another Tuesday. I get to see you. I get to see everyone here.
Yeah, was
Awesome.
not our impromptu gathering yesterday enough for you?
That was honestly, that was really great. It just kind of I was not planning on you showing up. You gave me a call. What are you doing? Just got out of a movie. Can I come over?
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
spontaneous like that.
So, and we ended up. You are spontaneous like that. We ended up rewatching The Dark Knight Rises, which is, it's funny. You were you were poking so many holes in it, and it's like you're right. Like it's it's not a movie by any means, but do I enjoy it?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, I don't think Dark Knight Rises deserves the hate that it gets. Yeah, I mean, and it's not completely Christopher Nolan's fault either.
It also,
how do you follow the magnum opus that is Dark Knight, and then also, how do you continue the franchise without a character as awesomely portrayed as Heath Ledger did as Joker?
Exactly. Although Tom Hardy did a great job as Bane.
Yeah, I mean, again, no notes really.
The one thing
again, during our rewatch, I was poking the odd hole here and there.
Yeah, but no, you were absolutely right on all of those, and I was, and I laughed because yeah, you're right. Why is it like that? There's a few things where it's like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but either those are those moments where you either buy into you're already bought into the film and you're just along for the ride and you don't care, or that's where you get off the train. It's like, nope, this is not for me. And it also goes to show you that, because I know Nolan's heart he really didn't want to do this one, but because I think it's more of do it. So even is not really trying that hard. It's a good movie.
Yeah, like his B effort which is still an A plus.
That shows you
his
how
B
good of
effort
a director he is.
Like an A plus, to everybody else.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. And even Insomnia, which I know is not one that he wrote, and that's still a pretty good movie. Good movie too. Not his best.
Right, but when Chris Nolan has more control, then you're gonna have a masterpiece. But even when working with limitations of someone else's vision or someone else's work, he still makes a really good movie.
Have you
have
you seen Oppenheimer yet? Oh, dude, you got it.
No, I'm afraid that I'm just gonna be
really
good.
All
the time because
I think,
given my
well, you might
not disbelief, but questioning nature towards atomic weapons.
what I appreciate, there's actually very little, about it's more about
Right.
Oppenheimer himself and like the challenges he went through, not necessarily about like
Right.
weapon
Yeah,
itself.
that's
It's more
I get.
the existential crisis
Yeah, I
that
get
comes
that.
with like
It's about the man and his journey and whatever, and not necessarily the thing that he creates. Because there's already a movie about that does that. I forget what it's called, but it
yeah
has Dwight Schultz of A-Team fame. Murdoch. I forget what it's called, but
yeah what that was a miniseries. I think it was the
it was from
Manhattan
like
Project.
the late '80s, early '90s. No,
Was that a
It's
movie
from the
or
late
the
'80s, early
miniseries?
'90s. It
Oh, okay.
stars
No, there was
Dwight
another.
Schultz. Again from A-Team fame. And also Lieutenant Reginald Barclay from Star Trek: Next Generation.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. No, I
he plays.
haven't seen that. Like, there's a miniseries
I'm gonna look it
from
up real fast.
yeah. No, there's a miniseries from the early 2010s. It's called the Manhattan Project that was actually very, very good. Um, and it dealt with like just it wasn't like it was about building the atomic bomb,
Right. I know.
but
Yeah,
it was more about
I'm aware of the
the
miniseries. Um,
yeah. I actually really liked it.
oh yeah, it's called Fat Man and Little Boy from 1989.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I know I haven't seen it,
Yeah,
but yeah, now I know
I
of
think it
it.
stars
Okay,
Paul Newman.
I didn't know it was the. Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, I'm
I'm
in.
just going by the movie poster. Hold on.
You had me at Paul Newman.
Yep, Paul Newman. Yep. Yeah, and Schultz plays Oppenheimer.
He's been in.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Anyways, yes.
Um, yeah, I think you'll like. I feel like it is really good. I watched in IMAX, which was just oh man, that
Hmm.
was an experience. Let me tell you. But I love Nolan. Obviously, like the his Batman trilogy, I think is start to finish is one of the best trilogies there is. Um, to me, it's not just about a comic book character.
Hmm.
It's more than that. I mean, I would probably say that the third one is maybe the most comic book like. Um, but overall, I I think it's a great trilogy, and I love all his films. They're all just solid. You're not gonna get a bad film out of him.
I would say that the Burtons were the most comic booky, and then Nolans were were the best like Bruce Wayne stories. Because as much as it is about Batman, it's about Bruce Wayne. And then Matt
Yeah,
Reeves, the Batman, that's the best
right.
detective Batman we've seen on screen.
Yeah, that is the one thing that always seems to be lacking in
Right.
Batman is
Yeah,
the
and I
detective
mean,
aspect, which
yeah,
I'm
and I mean, he
glad
has the
Matt Reeves
moniker.
brought that in, and I really hope that they
Yeah, and I mean, he has
continue
the
with that.
moniker of world's greatest detective, and yet in the Tim Burton movies, and then also, and then in
Well, that's what DC is,
right, and then in the Tim
Detective
Burton
Comics.
movies, and then in the Nolan movies, he doesn't do too much detecting. I mean, he does like he does investigations, but like nothing where he's like, where he's like sitting in front of the back computer and like piecing the puzzle pieces together, and figuring things out. But yeah,
Yeah. What's funny what you say that was about like the Tim Burton Batman, it's just because he
yeah,
essentially ignored everything and just
right.
kind of did
And I
whatever
mean,
the
yeah,
fuck he wanted.
people might, and people might decry.
I would say like the most comic book one is
Well, I mean, in terms of like the aesthetic, not necessarily like keeping to just like kind of like the zaniness, like the Joker and his like laughing gas, and the Penguin, and running for political office and whatever. It's like the theme of like comic book, not actually like literal.
You're right. Yeah, it is very comic book like, which is fun. And I do like the Tim Batman movies. Although I would say like the Batman is cool, but his Bruce Wayne like, is portrayed so weird. I
Michael
didn't
Keaton,
really care for that too much. And then the Val Kilmer version, although so when Tim Burton was supposed to direct Batman Forever and like and the fourth one, but they're like, do you really want to do it? Do you really? Meaning it's
right?
like, don't direct these. And so they got Joel Schumacher to do both the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Batman has its moments. I do like aspects of it. It's a little silly, but I like it. Batman and Robin is fucking dog shit, and
It has
people,
its defenders.
there's
It has
a
its
lot of people
defenders.
end up liking it. Yeah, and they just came out with this like really like super like cool 4K release of it. It's like why on this film of all films, Batman and Robin? But okay, that's there's a film for everybody. Maybe MacGruber
Yeah,
is like
I know.
somebody's
Yeah,
favorite
there's
film,
a
as our friend
yeah. I
Phil
mean, for
told
somebody,
us.
MacGruber is freaking Citizen Kane. I'm
Good
not saying it's
Lord.
my Citizen Kane,
God, I
but for
hope not.
somebody, it's Citizen Kane.
No. Oh man, that yeesh.
But
Um,
anyways, yeah. Sorry,
but
sorry
no,
everyone for the late start.
I do like. It's okay.
Uh,
It's your fault.
yeah, just I was roped into going to work today, and then I was only supposed to be there for a couple hours, and then ended up staying most of the day, and so yeah, and then I didn't get home until. Well, I'm not saying it's my fault either.
Oh, you're gonna twist
I'm just presenting the circumstances of why we started the stream late. Because remember, the rule is it's never my fault.
Oh, you'll find. You
What was that? You're cutting in and out there.
know, no, it's like you'll find a way to twist it to like where you're the innocent party.
Oh yeah, it's never my fault. Yeah, it's funny. There's
But,
a what
have
is it?
you seen the
What? Huh? What was that? You're cutting in and out
no?
there.
Have you seen the original? Have you seen the original Batman movie from '66?
No, only clips.
It's it's silly, but
Sorry, you're cut. Yeah, I don't know why, but it's like freaking internet's it's like garbling your signal. Try. Okay. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. Sorry, folks. The OBS is kind of lagging right now. Oh, well, yeah. Sorry, Robert. I
what's happening.
interrupted you. You were about to say something. pertaining to the Batman.
Oh no, I'm just saying it's if you haven't seen the original one, it's fun, it's silly, but it's enjoyable.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't even. Yeah,
And that's
like
also very comic book like.
for sure. What is it? Yeah, I mean, until like I found that clip, I didn't even know that they even made a Batman movie so that early.
They did, yeah. And there was I mean, going back into the 30s, they did have Batman serials in film.
Mm.
So, you might have to go back and like kind of look. I kind of want to watch those just for the sake of it to see, what it was like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I just but yeah. Anyways, I enjoyed watching Dark Knight Rises with you. I actually yesterday watched the new King of the Planet of the Apes, and not to give anything away, but damn, I really like what they're doing with the kind of this re how they're dealing with Planet of the Apes and kind of starting that the very beginning and move forward, and seeing how like they're moving towards the uh, the timeline of the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they are so good. This one, I still think War is the best one,
Mm-hmm.
but this one is damn good
Right.
because now we're moving um, many years into the future,
Mm-hmm.
and there's still humanity is still fighting, to survive, and there's still like some sentient humans that have not come to the simian level,
Mm-hmm.
and there's different like ape um,
Actions.
ape tribes and how they they're combating each other, but
Mm-hmm.
it is really really good. You have to check it out if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Now, a couple weeks ago, great movie. It's definitely a theater experience.
Mm. Yeah. Sorry, folks. Just trying to make the stream go better. But yeah.
Is it still kind of like slowed up?
Oh, it's better now. It's better now. I
Okay,
think
all
we
right,
struck the balance.
okay. But I highly recommend you watch it, Andy. I think you'll really like it.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully, I have some time.
Hell, I'll even like go back to watch it again with you if you want.
You'd watch it again in theaters.
In theaters, yeah. That's how much I
Wow.
liked it. It was really good.
That's high praise.
And
The
yeah, but
only
that's kind of like
yeah, the only movie I've ever watched twice in theaters, unfortunately, was The Last Jedi.
why of all so
I know,
much.
I know.
Why
As
that
much
one?
okay, allow me to defend myself. And I know of all people, it was it's that I went to go watch it twice. Um, but I went to go watch it
Was
twice.
it just to make sure that you really hated it that much?
Yes, because I remember when I walked out the first time.
That's what I did.
When I Oh, so you went to watch it twice too. So whatever.
No, but here's the thing. When there's a film that I really like, I'll go to the theater several times to watch it. But hearing that you have only watched one movie twice in the theaters, and that being The Last Jedi, your most hated movie, that's surprising
Yes.
to me.
Yes, and I went to go watch it again because after watching it the first time, on the ride home, I was thinking to myself, I was supposed to like that, right?
Yeah,
You know?
that's exactly how I felt about it.
And so, a couple days later, some friends of mine, they said that they're gonna go watch it again. I was like, it's like I gotta make sure of this stuff. So I went and I watched it. Luckily, I didn't pay for it because I had like the movie pass thing.
Yeah,
And so I went to go watch it, and then again I came out of it, and I was like, I hate this movie.
that's where you and I agreed there. It's not good.
Yeah.
There are aspects of the movie that I did like, but that doesn't make it a movie.
Yeah, I hated everything about this movie. It sucked all the way through. Even if there were some redeeming like aspects or scenes in the movie, it doesn't negate the overall suckiness of that movie for me.
I know there was a lot of that back when the prequels were coming out. And I actually just rewatched Phantom Menace in the theaters for its 25th
Right.
anniversary, and I'm like, you know what? It's pretty. It's not the best of the franchise, but there's still a lot there that makes it there's good stuff about it. There's a good story there.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
I'll be honest. There were aspects of Force Awakens that got me interested. I did like they were doing some certain things, but then the Last Jedi completely shit all over
it
that.
shit the
It's
bed. It
yeah,
monumentally
that's where I was like,
shit
wait
the
a
bed.
second. Yeah.
But yeah,
And I don't
and
completely hate Ryan Johnson either because he's done good stuff.
yeah, I mean, if you
But
stay in your lane,
when you
Ryan,
have well,
we got no problems. You try to do that
yeah,
deconstructionist bullshit.
yeah, like Looper's a good movie.
Yeah, but if Ryan Johnson tries to apply that reconstructionist like bullshit to Star Wars, get the fuck out of here. Not having it here. But yeah, I mean, I think people need. I
Yeah,
think people need to take it. Take uh, the prequels and the original trilogy like in the proper context. Like, their mythology and their mythology told in very different and totally different eras. Um, prequels were is you think of it like it's if you ever watched Clone Wars, you should have it in that frame in that kind of framework because at the beginning of every Clone Wars movie
that was
or
brilliant
at the
storytelling.
beginning of every Clone Wars episode, they do like those old timey movie newsreels. You know, uh,
It was
I
on
know, right?
Arch.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those. It was done in
right. So
style.
you have to watch the prequels as propaganda, right? Think of it like World War II era propaganda. And so you're watching essentially,
Yeah,
like the Captain America movies. When from like in the Captain America: The First Avenger, like he was making those war movies to drum up support and war bonds and stuff like that. Think of it like that, and then view the original trilogy like you're watching Vietnam.
yeah. Okay, I could see that. It's like I said, there's good there. It's just man, the sequel trilogy is just so bad.
I say
And
I
I
say
know
not enough.
they're
I say there's not enough good.
yeah.
I mean, the only credit I'll give the sequel era is, well, I mean, it's technically a prequel, but is Rogue One.
Rogue One is a good
Yeah, with
movie.
though
I'm
tech
sorry, like
though
I know
technically a prequel, like it still falls within the Disney era of Star Wars.
it was their first movie that they did, and I was like, okay, I like this. This is
Well,
cool.
I mean, not in terms of not in
And
not in terms of release. I think that was their third movie.
no, I think that was the first one they
No,
did.
no, 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 no. The first one was Force Awakens.
Was
Yeah,
it?
no way they can get away with doing Rogue One and then doing Force Awakens. They had to Disney had just bought, Lucasfilm, so they had to establish themselves. And in which I took Force Awakens as them saying, "Oh yeah, we get Star Wars." Even though like now I understand they're just, bankrupt idiots. I initially took Force Awakens as like, a reassurance, letter, to the fans saying that, oh, don't worry, we get Star Wars, it's in good hands. Here's Force Awakens, here's like all the same beats as, A New Hope. See, we get Star Wars, and I stupidly thought like, oh yeah, see, they're just saying that they get Star Wars and that it's in good hands and that they're gonna take it to a good place. Little did I know, was I
Yeah, you're
wrong?
right. Yeah, yeah. Force Awakens came out the year before Rogue One.
Yeah,
You're right.
but yeah, like that's the only that's the only credit I give to Disney Star Wars is Rogue One. Maybe Mandalorian too, because I mean Mandalorian was fun. Don't get me wrong. At least the first two seasons. After that was just dog
First
shit.
two seasons were amazing.
After that was dog shit. The third season was dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, there was things about that I like too, but then it's just like, but you have completely gone away from like what you were going towards. That's it. It's just because of all the fucking meddling. Like, just let the people that you have put in place write the stories that have made it popular. I'm telling you, Kathleen Kennedy has got to go because when it's not her putting her stamp on stuff, she she fucking meddles with it. It's like, oh well, people are liking stuff and I'm not involved 100%. Oh well, this has to
Yeah,
go.
even though she has a producer credit, she's like, no, no, I have to be directly involved.
Yeah.
Like, girl, your ideas suck. Miss, oh, the hero always gets the girl. What if he gets the dog? Come on.
Yeah.
Miss me with that
But
shit.
I did enjoy my viewing of going back into theaters, watching Phantom Menace for the first time in 25 years. That was a really cool
Mm-hmm.
experience, and I got to it was uh, cool because I got to relive it. With two of my with our friends Santa Claus and Dan Man, but then my wife got to see it for the first time, and she ended up liking it. So funny story though. So she likes Jar Jar Binks. She's like, Jar Jar reminds me of me. And I totally believe that. I was like, God, you're right.
Oh boy,
My wife is Jar
she
Jar
is.
Binks. I don't know if I think you would agree with
Oh,
that, Andy.
I full heartedly support that. Full heartedly. Um,
But yeah, it was a great experience, and like she ended up liking it. It's like maybe I can start getting her into Star Wars. Maybe I'll get her to be able to watch Attack of the Clones, and some of the even I was telling her it's like the story that because you good. She ended up liking the story. She liked the action, and she liked the story. And she like there was a few things that are confusing. It's like, well, I think it would help if you understood, if you watched the originals and kind of had that knowledge going back into this one. And I think you'll enjoy the newer films more because of that. So I think I'm versioning her into
And
watching
again,
Star
you have to
Wars.
make her watch the machete order.
Yeah, I think what would help is maybe if you come over and we'll watch that. That's what we should do is we should watch that next time you're over. We'll do we'll do a Star Wars run.
Okay, set it up. Okay, for that I'll be there. Yeah, set that up. I'll be there.
Yeah, we can help her like understand the story of Star Wars and maybe make her a fan because I think now she's willing to kind of dive into it.
Indeed.
But yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. I went to a party recently this week too, where just a friend of mine that I met through my wife that I met, and we kind of had a guys night. Just made a bunch of burgers and hot dogs and bacon and everything. Manly. We had old fashions and beer and everything flowing, and it was a great time. And we just talked movies and we talked theology and all sorts of great stuff, man. It was a good time.
Cool. Glad you made a new friend.
Yeah, so I had a yeah. I made a bunch of new friends and or got to know like some of these newer friends that um, I had been talking with. So cool stuff.
Cool. Excellent.
But yeah, we can dive into our this is going to be a little bit more of a leading up to our movie review, but a little bit of a theological discussion. Because our theme is devil in the details. We had an interesting discussion last week concerning with Haxon and Nefarious, which I thought was a cool discussion, and I wanted to continue that just a little bit. And you know, wanted to get your thoughts, Andy, on the idea of Satan and demons and how as Christians what do we deal what do we do with that? How do we deal with that? How do we because I think a lot of times what happens is there's a lot of people who are scared and they're looking under every rock to find Satan. And it's well that's demonic or this is that. And I don't think that that's always the right approach to
Right, because
things.
if everything is
And I
Satan,
thought
then
maybe
nothing
we
is
could give
Satan.
yeah, and so I thought maybe we could give a better perspective on how we deal with that.
Okay.
So I wanted to get your thoughts
Yeah,
on it.
as a believer, of course, I believe that Satan is real. I know that he'll throw everything he can at us to trip us up. I mean, he know. I mean, not to say that he's omniscient, but he knows us. He knows what makes us tick. He knows, what he knows the soft spots, on our, he knows the soft spots on us. So, he knows to poke at certain things and rub others or massage others to get the desired result. Um, I mean, uh, just the kind of the monologue delivered in Nefarious about talking about how the what is that? There's a quote that the devil can quote scripture. Um, Obviously a warning against false teachers or prophets. Yeah, so you have to be wary of that because yeah, because I mean the best example is what in the Gospels themselves when Jesus is in the wilderness during his fast, uh, possibly at his weakest physically, um, and easily susceptible to the taunting or the whispers of the devil. And what did the devil use to tempt Christ? The the scriptures. So I heard it
Yeah.
say that if you if that the Son of Man, like he'll will the Father will send legions of angels to catch you. So why don't you jump off this building and have your angels come and grab you. But the one of the best tricks of the devil is that um, he mixes truth with lies. And one of those tactics is uh, quoting verses out of context.
I mean, it happens like right away in the
True.
garden where we have like the word of God, and then you have Satan tempting Eve with something that sounds almost exactly like what God said, but like there's just enough of a twist into it that it makes it oh, and so you get
Right.
fooled, and so you're thinking about like, oh well, that's the truth, I guess that makes sense, but then you're lured into the going down the wrong path.
Right. I
Um,
mean, just for
but
context, like the thing that Satan uses is that it's like, oh, did God really say that you will die if you eat of this fruit? And it's agreed upon by most Bible scholars that the what was it when God instructed Adam that not to eat of the fruit or lest he die, he wasn't saying that he would die immediately. Is that he will begin the process of dying, right? Which I think which is a slight hint at the original plan of God to have to give us longevity, more longevity than what we would currently possess. Um, and then what the devil does when and then of course Adam relays the teachings that God gave him to his wife, and Adam told her the same thing, that if don't eat of this tree lest you die. Um, and I like to think that Adam did teach properly, right? He did convey the same thing that God instructed him, that the die that God meant, that eat this fruit lest you die. It didn't mean immediate death. It meant the process. You begin the process of dying, and so and then
yeah, because dying was not a thing that
right.
happened.
Dying was
Yeah.
not. It isn't stated, but dying is not part of the world of Adam and Eve yet. And so, what is
Yeah.
it? And so yeah, and I believe I believe Adam taught properly, and he told her the proper context of that death. It's like, oh, um, yeah, don't eat this lest you begin to die. But then Satan comes in and says, did God really say that? It's like, no, you will not surely die. and making it seem like, again, misquote, kind of like spinning God's words, saying like, oh yeah, you won't die, you won't immediately die, and then leaving out the part, where it's like, yeah, but you will eventually die.
Yeah, yeah. It's that small twist of words that created that issue, and it's what we talked about in Nefarious, the idea that you know the Satan and his legion of demons went after the thing that God loved most, um, and that was us,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked. And now it's where so the one thing I always talk about is because everyone's saying like, oh well, if you like this type of thing or you like to watch this thing, that's that's demonic. You're gonna be um, you're gonna be possessed by demons or whatever. It's like no, these things. Thing is, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things are very neutral. They're not good or bad. They're just things. Now you can enjoy those things, but what makes those things potentially demonic is if that's what becomes more if you put that on a pedestal above God, that becomes more important. That's that can be demonic. When certain vices like whether it be know drinking, whatever else that people are into, and not necessarily like in the case of not in the case of like what we were last week where drinks are essentially a gateway to uh, you know demonic possession. But like wine and that stuff that has always been a part of society from the very beginning. And but there are times where people have that becomes a problem. They just cannot handle that, and it ruins their life. Well, that's because that has a they don't know how to have that self control, and that is now has become a thing that uh, has
Right,
been a
because
device for uh,
right, because yeah, I
demonic
don't know why, but like drinking is
influence.
always like the thing that people try to catch you on, like this taboo. It's like, oh, you're a Christian, but you drink. It's like yeah, but if you take the proper lens to the Gospels, Jesus drank too. Are you saying that he's a sinner? Because yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like the first miracle that he did was turn water into wine. And yeah, you
turning
could
water into
you
wine.
could in your and then it becomes like this thing about, it's really about headcanon, and not like what's on the page. Like, do you think that he would not partake in the festivities, like at that wedding, like that he wouldn't drink? Like, maybe he didn't drink, but do you think that that he wouldn't have, or like in the Last Supper? Like, do you think that he
Of
would
course he
not
did.
drink with his disciples, his closest friends on earth?
He did it several times.
Right.
I
I
mean, if
mean,
you
and
think of the
imagine,
Last
and I'm
Supper, they
sure,
all
and this
drank
was, and
wine.
like people might forget, but they were together for 3 years, so they probably been through a bunch of different Passover seders, right? So the Last Supper isn't even the first
Exactly.
instance that they're doing this. Or I mean, yes, the symbolism, the changing of the symbolism in the particular account in the Gospels at towards like the end where Jesus gets betrayed. Yes, that is different. But the Passovers, the probably the two other Passovers that they shared together in the 3 years that they were doing ministry together, I'm sure that,
That's essentially what the Last Supper is. It's a
yeah,
Passover
exactly.
meal.
I mean, of course, it's changed a bit because there's no sacrificial lamb, because Christ is the sacrificial lamb. Um, and and there's no more
Right.
bitter herbs to denote that there'll be no more
Well,
bitterness or of for humanity, because God will bring sweetness. Um, yeah, so like
yeah.
yeah, so again in the account of the Last Supper, towards the end of his earthly life, yes, they changed the some of the symbology and the ritual, but they were together for 3 years. So they at least did two Passover Seders prior, and I'm sure they followed it to Jewish tradition. And in that tradition there is wine.
Yeah. I don't understand like what the hang up is with that. I mean, I know like there are people who have a tough time controlling
Mm.
their consumption of like alcohol or whatever. But I don't know what the bugaboo about that was. And maybe it was just this is a very American thing too. I think
Maybe, yeah.
that has become a problem
But
because of like the leftover remnants of prohibition
right, but I think it's also like projection.
and like the
Yeah, but I think
temperance
it's also
movement.
projection because people who freak out about alcohol and not being able to control, like the idea that someone can drink alcohol but then not be an alcoholic or abuse alcohol is like must be foreign to them for them to freak out this hard over Christians drinking.
Yeah,
It's all
it's really
projection.
weird.
At least that's what I think.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
But yeah, but it is a way for when that becomes like
right.
your your only goal is to find your next rate. Like so, like when we did like movies like Leaving Las Vegas, right? Where like that guy, his only goal was to like drink as much as possible
Yeah.
and drink himself to death. See, that's a problem. That is where you're opening yourself up to demonic influence because the alcohol has become so much more important than anything else. Um, and ultimately, spoiler alert, it did kill that guy. Oh man, that's a rough
Yeah.
movie. That I don't think I'm ever gonna watch
Yeah,
that
and I think
again.
yeah, and we
I just
also we also scored it pretty low because there's like literally no
yeah,
yeah,
it's
there's
a rough
literally no
movie.
redeeming like kind of like in the Whale, there's literally no redeeming characters.
Oh, dude, the whale. Oh, good fucking god. There's no good characters in
No.
that movie. Everyone sucks. Even like our main character who we're supposed to like care about. I don't care about
I
him. It's
know. It's
like,
like good. Like yeah, die. I don't
dude,
care.
dude, that scene like where he like went on his like
Hmm.
food binge.
Oh,
Oh,
whoa.
bleh. Ah, God, that was fucking disgusting.
Dude. And also,
Did we eat after
I
that,
don't know.
or
I
did
know
we
we
eat
ate. I
before?
can't remember. I kind of blocked out that night. Wait, I think we did do. I think we did eat. I just can't remember if we ate before or after the movie.
That's what I don't remember either.
Yeah,
Like
I remember eating. I remember
I'm
we ate at
I'm
the. I think
hoping
we
we ate
ate at
before
the Cheesecake Factory there. Yeah, next to
Cheesecake
the
Factory.
theater. Um,
We had to have eaten before because I don't think we would have been able to eat
oh yeah,
after
and
that.
when we left, like after the movie ended, we kind of like said goodbye there. Okay, yeah, so we ate before. Thank goodness. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and I
think
mean,
we
and
ate
like,
before.
and I don't know why,
It's
but
like
like
'cause I don't know if I would have been able
yeah,
to
and in the
eat
beginning of
after
the
that.
movie, he's like, he's jerking his meat to gay porn, and then like he's having a heart attack, and he's like, and then like in the midst of his heart attack, like I don't know, I think it was like the missionary kid, but like he finds him, and then like he's like, and then they ask him to read um the book report that his daughter wrote about Moby Dick. And it's like it's like weird. He was just like masturbating, and then like he gets a heart attack. He wants to die listening to his daughter's words about Moby Dick. Like what in
It's
the actual
so
fuck, man? What in the
fucked up.
actual fuck? Okay, yeah. I mean, we're a little we digress a little bit here.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
anyways,
yes,
so
yeah.
going back to what I'm
Not
saying
saying
is
that alcohol or whatever, or any substance really. Like, oh, dude, like cake can be can be a gateway. But yeah,
yeah,
but yes, can it be a gateway? Yes, but is it always? No, obviously. There's people who drink, even Christians, who can just drink and not become alcoholics or lose control or anything like that. You know,
yeah, I like beer. I I drink beer a lot, but that doesn't mean that I'm like, oh God, I gotta get my next fix, or otherwise I can't survive. It's like, no, if like tomorrow God said no more beer ever, okay,
right? I mean, if you
it's gone.
truly felt the conviction,
Because
if you
that's
truly felt the conviction of the Holy Spirit telling you, like, hey, no more beer, then yeah, you would refrain, you would abstain.
boom,
Yeah.
it's gone. Like, but like the thing is, like, I don't like wag my finger at people and tell them it's like, well, you're a sinner because you're drinking. Get away from me. It's like they're I don't understand like why people do that.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, let's think, let's maybe
There's
go to the next level and say, like, smoking. Is smoking a sin?
no.
Like, even though they people
Is it bad for you? Yes.
yeah, even though people bring up the verse about, oh, treat your body like a temple.
People have been smoking for millennium. For millennia.
True. And I mean,
It's
even in
that is the
yeah, and
thing.
even in that part of part of the world, there is a smoking culture. I mean, I don't know if it was prevalent during the time
Yeah.
of Christ.
I mean, there's nothing like spoken about that, like in that at least biblically. But I have to imagine there has to have been
Hmm.
something of that. Um, or I don't know if maybe that came from like moving into the new world, and that's what the natives
Right,
were
with like
doing,
tobacco leaf
and
and everything.
we adopted that as
But yeah,
yeah, and it's like we're gonna flush your sin stick down to hell. It's like Rod and
yeah,
Todd from The Simpsons.
yeah.
It's
But yeah, it's like, is
now listen,
smoking
like,
the healthiest for
is
you?
it good for
No.
you? No,
Is there a
absolutely
there a
not.
moral prohibition against smoking? No. Would it be
No,
best that you not smoke to maybe, like, really control your consumption of cigarettes? Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
And some people, so some people might argue too. Some people might argue too, because we were talking about like as far as like hard drug usage being possibly like a gateway into a demonic realm. Here's where I think that just going based off of history, when you look at Greco-Roman culture and like the oracles, they were essentially huffing
Yeah.
fumes
What is it? Laurel
to
leaves,
like
I believe.
in
Yeah.
visions.
Laurel leaves.
Yeah, and so it's kind of the same thing. You are putting yourself in a place where you are uh, giving yourself over to the hallucination,
Right. You're essentially a
and
conduit.
you're like I said, you're a conduit to something that is not. Yeah, it's they thought of it as spiritual
Mhm.
guidance, but it's in a sense, yes, it is, but it's not the correct version of spiritual guidance. Um, so that's where and a lot of these hard drugs that we have today, which are even more potent than that,
Yeah.
do something similar. And there is a, a good amount of like anecdotal information that kind of proves like there is something there.
Right. Yeah.
I might not be able to like prove it 100%, obviously, but there's something.
Yeah. I mean, look at we talked about last week with the nefarious. Look into the work of Jerry Marzinski. He used to be a state's prisons counselor, like psychologist, and yeah,
Uh,
he would deal with like a lot of inmates with psychological issues. A lot of them, they basically fried their brains like on meth and stuff, and it's crazy. Like all the meth people, they all have the same kind of hallucination, the same kind of visions. It's like without exception.
yeah.
Even if you look up accounts from like policemen or EMTs or firefighters, people like high on meth, like they have the same experiences, and they always say they hear the same voice telling them to do shit. It's like it's the same thing, and then that can't be a coincidence.
No, I don't think it is. Um, the other thing that I always found uh, bothersome too is where we are now believers, and so what that means is that we are indwelled with the Holy Spirit. Well, essentially, He lives inside of us. God lives inside of us. But there are believers out there that I don't think understand what that means, and they think that you can be possessed by demons. No, it doesn't mean that you can't be uh that demons and like all can't like try to aggravate you and
Yeah,
try to throw calamity
yeah,
in your way. That's
poke and
I
prod.
do
Yeah,
believe happens.
yeah, demons could
Yeah,
they could
but
poke
as
and
far
prod for
as
sure.
I think once yeah, but as far as like possessing you, I don't think that's a thing. That if you are a true believer, no, you cannot be possessed by demons because that to me that gives them just as much power as God, and it's not
Right,
the
because
case.
you're imparting something that God does to something lesser than God. I mean, not still more powerful than humans, but just lesser than God. And in a way,
Yeah, and yeah, I'm
and then
not
in a
like trying to
way, you're making that thing your God.
right. Well, and I think what's so interesting too with like
Mm-hmm.
nefarious, right? When in that scenario where uh he's essentially said, okay, come and possess my body. Nothing happened, but he gave that access to nefarious to take over his
Mm-hmm.
body. But when it came time like when he's like, oh shit, like this is
Right.
real, and he says, God help me, boom. I mean, I don't know if he necessarily became a believer in that moment, but that was a powerful enough statement that where God did protect him from
Right.
nefarious. I think that is also like a reality that should show people that is you know that God has that power over demons. And if you look in the book of Job too, where God and Satan are having a debate over Job, and he had Satan had come to God to ask permission to mess with Job, but it only was to a certain
Mm-hmm.
amount. He could not pass that line.
Right. Yeah. He was able to do mess with him like physically, but couldn't kill him. And even messing with him physically, he still he had to get the sign off from God himself. He needed to get authority from God. I don't know. Some people might be hearing this and be like, "Man, that's fucked up." It's like, but it's if you think about it, it's because God. I mean, there's no more scarier line uttered in the book of Job than when God goes to Satan after he said like, "Oh, I've been all over the earth and I haven't found haven't found a person who's more upright and and virtuous and righteous, and God utters the scariest line I think in the Bible is, "Have you considered my servant Job?" Basically saying it's like like it's like that just the idea that God knows you so well. It's like it's like all these other guys suck, but except for this guy. It's like maybe you should try your tricks on this guy.
Yeah, and it's more to like, now does Job know why that's happening? Obviously, he does not. But it's more of like that God trying to. There's a war going on outside of our understanding, and that's why like there's things that happen to us that we just do not understand, and we can look at it as coincidence, bad luck, so on and so forth. And is God, the war is waging. We are that is why we might a time of suffering is to prove a part of war. Now, does that at the same time we know that the victory that was won? But there's these like little flare up battles. So,
Right. It's like
and
it's like
one.
it's when when the Allies declared victory, there were still probably pockets of fighting in Germany. And so that so that's what the
I mean, hell,
that's what the death and resurrection of Jesus is. He's won the war. All right, we have victory in the war, but we still have to contend with these small little skirmishes.
exactly. And that's just that I see it. It's just Satan doesn't for us. He is a powerful being, and he's not to be trifled with. That's why you don't mess with witchcraft and actual like witchcraft and the sorcery and all this shit. Not the I'm Wiccan and I'm just like a weird goth kid, but like I believe
Are
in
you an
it. No,
Aries? Oh my
that's
god, I
not
can totally
that's not
tell that
reality.
you're an Aries, and I know that you're a Pisces
Yeah.
sun sign. No, that's that's different.
Fuck that shit. No, but like actual people who believe in this stuff, and we'll talk about this when we get into the movie, because there is actual like weird voodoo witchcraft stuff that in effect doesn't even like Satan is not fooled by that stuff. He's like he ends up finding what he's like, no, you signed a contract with me, buddy, and I'm
Like no
gonna make
takesy
you on my
backsies.
yeah. But when you don't mess with that stuff and you are a believer,
Mm-hmm.
Satan, he's gonna huff and puff and try to blow your head down, but he has no power over you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
You have the most powerful thing inside of you.
yeah, I mean, as a
You
believer,
can overcome anything. You now have the power to say no to him.
right? I mean, Satan. Yeah, Satan is, he's described as a devouring lion, but really he's just a kitten with a trash can. That meows his little meow inside the trash can to make him sound like he's a big scary lion.
He's like the Wizard of Oz. I mean, a guy who sounds like big, powerful, but really in reality, like just a little man with a bone.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
No, I wanna I wanna encourage, believers who are so, like, I mean, they're looking Satan under every fucking rock that's there, and it's just, guys, stop worrying about him. Focus on what's important. That's like, if you look to Jesus, look to the Holy Spirit. You If you do that, you're gonna be just fine. No matter what calamities come your way, you have the power to overcome. You have the strength, you have the power, you have everything at your disposal. Things might not work out the way that you want, or how you think that they should work out, but you will come.
Right. I mean, yeah, because there's a fundamental difference between like a deal with the devil and a deal with God. Because what God promises, yeah, it'll be, it might seem messed up, at the time, but it ultimately leads to great things. As opposed to the devil, where it's everything seems great up front, but then there's always a catch. And think about what is it, Joseph? One of the sons of Jacob. One of the 12 founding patriarchs, or 12 founding members of the tribe of Israel. His brothers sold
Tribes
him
of
into
Israel,
slavery.
yeah.
Yeah, his brothers sold him into slavery, even though, yeah,
Yep.
God gave him a vision where his brothers, were bowing down to him. The at the time the youngest, of Jacob's sons. And
Yep.
because of their jealousy, they sold their brother into slavery, and then made their father believe that he was killed by a lion or by robbers, and he endured, imprisonment and slavery, and then false, accusations, and then thrown back into prison, and then finally, after some years, he got his chance, when he properly interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams. And he was made, and then guess what happened? He was made second only to Pharaoh. That means he was after the Pharaoh, then it was Jacob, and then everybody else. Right? Even
Yep.
though he suffered the injustice of being sold into slavery, being thrown into jail, being accused of sexual assault, he rose up to become second in the land of Egypt, second after Pharaoh. And then contrast that with like the Devil's Deal. I mean, you hear it, you kind of hear it all the time, like, kind of like in like Twilight Zone or whatever. You wish for, or like in Bedazzled. Elliot, he wishes for all these great things, but there's always a twist to it.
Right.
It's like, oh, I want to be, rich and powerful and respected, but he ends up becoming a Colombian a drug lord. He wants to be the most sensitive man in the
Yeah.
world, but then he's so sensitive that his girlfriend leaves him to go get plowed by a complete stranger. He wishes
A
he
manly
wishes
man.
he wishes to be the greatest athlete in the world, and then he has a small little ween. On and on and on.
He's an
The,
idiot. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, the promises, the deals of the devil seem fantastic at the beginning, but there's always a twist. There's always, the other shoe is eventually going to drop. So yeah,
Yeah.
so which deal
So
would you rather? Which deal would you rather have? Like the deal where, like, yeah, it might suck at the beginning, but then it gets really good, or it might or it looks really good at the beginning, and then ends up sucking.
would you rather be victorious for a moment or victorious eternally?
There you go.
And I'll take victorious, eternally, every day.
Indeed.
But yeah, let's talk about Angel Heart, because this is a fucking interesting ass movie.
Yes, we are Christians. Anyway, yeah. Quickly. That's another thing. Like, like profanities. Like
Well, we've talked about this before, where there is nothing. Here's how I feel about it, because it always talks about controlling your tongue as far as like and controlling your speech.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? I know many people who they don't use any curse words, yet their tongue is the most sinister thing that they use
Mhm.
because they spread lies, they say horrible things about people, but they don't. Yeah, they don't use the quote unquote bad words.
Yeah, the four-letter words.
Um, yeah, but then like some of the nicest people I know, yeah, they use fuck or shit, and I and there's nothing when it comes to controlling your language. It doesn't say like, well, don't use these 5 words because these are bad words. That's like in the Bible about that. So I don't understand it.
Right. Because I mean,
Language is
if
like
you, yeah,
we
but if
get
you,
so caught up
hold on, hold on, before you get, yeah,
with
because if you
language.
think about like the words like they were using, like when they said like, oh, don't curse, like they're literally talking about cursing, like, like if you do this, then this bad thing will happen, and that bad thing will happen, and that bad. That's what they're talking about when they say curse. And
Yeah,
then when they say profane, they're literally talking about like disgusting depictions of things. You know,
exactly.
it's not using what we under modern what we understand to be the modern like profanity, like saying like, yeah, like you said, shit, damn, fuck, cunt. They're literally
Yeah.
saying like profane things, like disgusting and atrocious things, not merely bad words. They're probably talking about genitals and like when we're in like and sticking them into things and places and what have you.
Well, especially nowadays, God, there's so many more profane things than like saying the word fuck. Okay, we live in a society where little boys are having their dicks cut off because their parents think that they're a girl, or that girls are having like parts of their fucking legs scraped apart to make a fake penis for themselves. That
Yeah.
is profane. That
Yes.
is
There you go.
disgusting.
Hmm.
That is not like saying, God forbid, I say fuck, and when I was with these situations, like that's fucking horrible. Okay, well that's just that is
That's a modifier.
it's yeah, on like this horrible thing that's going on.
Hmm.
That's not, but I would be considered like, oh, well, don't say fuck. That's just mean. Don't, it's like, who the fuck cares?
Oh my
Who
freaking ears!
cares? Oh my God, my virgin ears. Yeah.
It's like, oh
It's like,
my freaking ears!
shut up.
Well, I would expect that kind of
Shut
language.
up.
I would expect that kind of language at Denny's.
Yeah. Or a Waffle House. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man, Waffle
Depending on
House
what part
fights.
of the
Oh
country.
jeez, they're becoming a thing
Dude,
now.
Waffle House, first of all, I do like Waffle House. Their food is amazing, but there is a weird society that goes to Waffle House.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Maybe it's their their
But I
hours
think,
that they keep, but
yeah. But that's it. The thing is, we've turned the things that like, oh, well, you can't say that. That's too. That's you're being too mean. You're being too profane. It's like, no, 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 no. I'm not. What is happening in our society? That profane. That is evil. Me saying like, oh, God forbid I called someone a retard, or because they're acting retarded, or I said the word fuck, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a word. That is not profane in any way.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We've lost
I just
our
wanted to touch upon
we've
that like
lost
really
our
quickly.
we've lost our way. If
Well,
you hear the word fuck and you like just kind of like oh.
Yeah. Well, in the words of one of my favorite preachers, Bodhi Bacham, it's like, Christians nowadays have adopted the 11th commandment: "Thou shalt be nice."
God. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, okay. I
Like,
guess.
I do subscribe to the ways of the sways. Be nice until it's time not to be
Not be
nice.
nice. Indeed.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, I can't believe they made a remake.
Dude, have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I refuse.
Don't.
I refuse. I mean, I
It's the
like
same
Jake. I
reason why I
like
watched
Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor, but I refuse.
just like the Point Blank remake.
Remake. Yeah.
No, I'm not
Yeah, I
interested.
totally missed on that one. Anyways, all right. I think that will bring us to an end to topics of discussion tonight, which will now leave us with our movie review. So again, to remind you all, this month's theme is Devil in the Details month, and tonight we'll be reviewing Angel Heart from 1987, starring Mickey Rourke, Robert De Niro, Lisa Bonet, and a whole host of other actors. I'll give everyone the synopsis, and then yeah, I think this is the one. This is the role that got her kicked off of Cosby. Ironically
I
enough.
imagine so. Yeah.
Ironically enough.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Oh.
All right, let me hit everyone with the synopsis. Okay. Harry Angel is a private detective contracted by Louis Cypher to track down the iconic singer Johnny Favorite. However, everybody that Angel questions about Favorite seems to meet a tragic demise. Eventually, the trail leads Angel to New Orleans, where he learns that Favorite had dabbled in the black arts. As Favorite's whereabouts and true identity become clear, Angel learns that being hired by Cypher was not a random choice. And again, this movie from 1987, directed by Alan Parker, adapted from a book, Falling Angel.
And of course, the guy is like Scandinavian, like William Horsberg.
Yeah. And it did not do well at all. The budget.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, the budget was 18 million, and it only made 17.2 million, and that's domestically.
I think that's why we probably don't hear about it very often.
Yeah.
Just because. But what did you think about it? Like, how did it? Did you? Did it engage you at all? Because I was in. I kind of liked.
Right, I went along. For the ride.
Yeah.
And I was entertained. It was funny because this movie kind of reminded me of Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Because
I was thinking the same thing.
It's kind of similar. Similar. You got two people, on the hunt for somebody, and then it slowly starts and then slowly as things become illuminated, more about the the person investigating the more of that person comes to light, and until the final reveal, which
Louis Cypher. Louis Cypher.
Monsieur Louis Cypher.
So he knew like right away like who he was after, but like he was just kind of playing. Like, was he just playing
Yeah, I
along?
think he was going through the motions.
I also noticed like as the movie went along, because when we first meet him, his nails are normal.
Well,
As the movie keeps going on, we keep seeing him more and more. The nails grow longer
no, I
and
think.
longer.
Well, no, I think at least he has like the cocaine chic pinky nail thing going, but then yeah, you're right. But I think he on one hand, no, I think the long nail thing was current throughout.
That always the case?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe because I only watched it the once,
Okay.
but I'm definitely gonna go back and watch this again because I did enjoy
Mhm.
it. Um, but yeah, well, this is still when like Mickey Rourke was a sexy man, not, not the
Hey,
current
is it?
Mickey
Oh yeah.
Rourke.
Okay. Before we get into any further, is it me or during this time could Mickey Rourke and Bruce Willis be confused for brothers?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm not. So
they
I'm not the
totally
only one.
could. You're not
I'm not
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, because I don't know why, but like, yeah, Mickey Rourke before pre plastic surgery, he kind of resembled Bruce
Yeah,
Willis. Like, and if you didn't know, you could confuse them for brothers.
yeah, because he looks like a freak
Yeah.
now.
I mean, he's making the best of. He's had a bit of a career resurgence, but
The
in terms of the looks department, yeah,
with Expendables and Iron Man 2,
yeah, and the wrestler.
which is great. I'm glad that he has it, but God, the wrestler was another one.
I still have yet to watch that movie.
Man, like I need to watch wrestler too. I've never seen it, but I know it was extremely
Yeah,
popular.
right. I mean, I think he won. I think he either won a Golden Globe or an Oscar for that role. Something like that.
Something
He
like
won
that.
some
Yeah,
sort of award.
he won some award, but yeah, you go into where he's this like private detective, and so okay. This is like it's set in the 50s. It's in color, but it's a very like noir-esque type of film. Um, Harry Angel, he is going on like the search for Louis Cipher. He wants to find this person that owes him money based off a contract that he signed. And it's like, I don't know where he is. He went through this whole thing, and I just need you to find him.
Right.
Okay, no problem. And then as things happen along the way, as the premise says, people start dying, and it's like he's been implicated on these murders, and like, listen, I don't want to be a part of all these murders, and they're gonna think that it's me. It's like, well, I'll give you money and just keep you going. And was there ever was there a time like, what were you thinking like as we're going along and like the first couple of people start dying? Were you thinking like that there was some sort of what were you thinking about at that point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew there was like some sort of supernatural element to it, because you can't have, Robert De Niro as Louis Cipher. Of course, I'll fully admit I didn't catch the Louis Cipher thing right away. Um,
No, I didn't catch it right away either. Yeah.
but him like appearing the way that he does, and then also having, like a church service, in Harlem. You got to start wondering, like, what the connection. There might be a spiritual component to it, and I wouldn't be surprised if like these people were being offed, you know by through possession, and like kind of in the same vein of Nefarious. when James, the psychiatrist, gets possessed and like the demon tries to off him, but luckily he's not able to. But in the cases of Angel Heart, they are
Yeah.
successful because these are mostly morally compromised people. I mean, the junkie doctor,
Do you think
who
that
faked.
all the murders were done by?
Well, I mean, in
Yeah. Do you think that all the murders were done by
well, I
Harry
mean,
Angel,
in the
who is
flashbacks,
like what we find out is Johnny
right? Well,
Friendly?
in the flashbacks, we do see him committing them. So, perhaps it is. And I think it might actually be him. I think it might be Angel being fully, in a way, Harry Angel is possessed by Johnny Favorite. And so, yeah, so Harry Angel is committing these murders by the possession of Johnny Favorite.
So what we come to find out is that Johnny Favorite, who sold his soul to the devil for
Mm-hmm.
fame, and when there that contract was come due, and to try to fool the devil, he used some sort of voodoo magic thing, like where he essentially found a person in the crowd, cut out his heart, and put in like and kind of like switched hearts,
No,
I
no,
guess, or
no.
like switched. There was some sort of
No,
like
he
ceremony where
feasted
like,
on the beating heart of the victim. Because like what is it? The father
okay,
of that palm reader chick. She was. As he was describing it, it's like, oh yeah, they cut
mm-hmm.
open that boy, and Johnny like devoured that his heart while it was still beating.
Okay, and that's how like he kind of fool. He was
And
able
so
to
Johnny,
like,
yeah, and so Johnny, yeah, and so
continue
Johnny
on.
Favorite took on the visage, of that boy that Johnny Favorite found in the crowd.
Okay, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And man, this is and so we go on this journey. All these deaths happen. All these deaths happen, and it's well, like Louis Cipher is involved in all this stuff because like he knows what's going on, and he like he I think what he's trying to do is to shake Harry Angel like to kind of like awaken him, like realize that he is actually Johnny friendly and that he owns him, and your time is due, and I'm collecting my contract.
Yeah, I'll kind of I'll even like what is it in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah,
You know,
it's because there's like a lot of voodoo in here, but at this like but the voodoo, although it being like a form of like witchcraft, like in it for a time, I don't even think it really fools Louis Cipher. I think he knows exactly what's going on, but he has to go through the motions to kind of to fulfill his contract that he had worked out with him. And it's like maybe he has to like snap him out of like whatever voodoo magic that he has on him, so that he knows exactly like
right? Okay, yeah,
who he
I know
is,
what you're
so
thinking.
that the
I know what you're
contract
thinking, and
can be complete.
yeah, I think similarly too. I think like he can't take possession.
So it goes back to the idea of like with the fairies.
He can't take Lucifer, Louis Cipher. He can't take possession of Johnny Favorite's soul, until he, it's kind of like a verification thing. He has to, you know, uh, he has to reclaim the identity of Johnny Favorite before he could, take him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is happening because based off like what we talked about last week with the fairies, the idea of the series of yeses. And if he doesn't know who he is, he can't say yes to like
Right.
the whole thing. And
And
so he knows
right, and
what's going
also,
on,
yeah,
and so he sends him on
and,
this journey to figure out who he
yeah, and
is.
also, like, if he, because again, the devil knows a lot, but he's not omniscient. Um, so Harry Angel might be who he says he is, and if he tries to claim on you know on not the right person, there might be consequences for him.
Oh, that's very true.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think
So it's just
Louis Cipher suspects that Harry Angel is Johnny Favorite, but he needs confirmation.
yes, yeah. And I think that like as he's continuing on this journey and investigating, he's essentially investigating
Hmm.
himself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, kind of like in
And
Shutter Island.
these murders take, yeah.
Although, of course, everyone knows my
And
theory.
somewhere deep down inside of him,
Yeah, everyone knows my theory that
do you think that
I
like,
think that Teddy Daniels was actually the real person, and Andrew Latus was the made up person.
yeah, do you think that like Harry Angel knew that he was a fake, or did it take him being shooken
I
around
think it might have. I
to
think it
wake
might
him
have
up?
taken this odyssey for his actual self to be awakened.
Did you know that that was the route it was going to go?
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't suspect. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why. For some reason, I shut.
It was pretty. I thought it was a pretty like interesting reveal that's like what we ended up getting.
Right. Because it's very. I think, but I think we should have suspected something because I mean I know movies are a visual medium, and we're always kind of like we have the God's eye view, but in like
Right.
the flashbacks he was having uh, of that night, when the Allies declared victory, in World War II, and he was in Times Square. It's always the viewpoint of Johnny Favorite going up and grabbing Harold Angel. It's never
Yeah.
Harold Angel just enjoying himself and then being spun around and then seeing Johnny Favorite. It's always the
That's right.
perspective
Yeah.
of Johnny Favorite, tapping Harold Angel on the shoulder, getting his attention. So that should have been, and that's a perspective view. So in that perspective, we are the audience is Johnny Favorite looking at Harold Angel, not the reverse,
Right.
where Harold Angel is like amongst his friend, and he gets tapped on the shoulder and turns around and sees Johnny Favorite.
So is our character as we know him as Harry
Mm-hmm.
Angel, the way he looks, is that what Johnny Favorite looked like? And the person that like he the actual Harry Angel who he made that ceremony with and cut out his heart, is that like a different looking person? And he just kind of like he took on the persona of Harry Angel, but it is actually like the way he looks as is that actually what Johnny looks like?
Very interesting you say that because it is given away what the score is because hold on, let me see the cast real fast. Um, yeah, Ethan Cruzmark, Margaret Mark's father. When he's describing what Johnny Favorite did to Harold Angel, and he said that by looking at him you wouldn't think he still looked like Johnny, but to people that didn't know him he looked like Harold Angel. He does, when he's kind of like having that weird like panic attack thing inside the jambalaya
Yeah,
shed or the ice shed. Yeah.
yeah.
He that as he's like kind of panicking and then like goes to the toilet to throw up. Yeah, he's like keeps explaining what happened. Like after he ate the heart, like people that knew Johnny Favorite still saw him as Johnny Favorite. Um, it's only strangers that didn't know Johnny that saw him as Harold Angel. But okay, but then to your point, or to your question, I think Mickey Rourke is what Harold Angel would look like at that age.
Okay.
Because what is it? Because we as the audience are people who don't even know what Johnny Favorite looked like, so we wouldn't know Johnny Favorite from Harold Angel. So I think Harold Angel or Mickey Rourke is what Harold Angel looks like.
The other thing I was also interested in because so with Lisa Bonet's
Mm-hmm.
character, she is obviously like into some weird like voodoo
Yeah, she's
shit,
a
right?
Mambo princess, a priestess.
And her Mambo princess, yeah. And but her mom, so her dad was
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Favorite,
Right,
right? That's kind of like what was
right.
alluded to. So essentially, he's fucking his
Yes.
daughter.
Gross. I know.
Don't get me wrong, like Lisa Bonet looks great in this film. She's
Yeah.
smoking hot in
Prime
this film.
choice. Lisa, tender, tasty slice. Lisa Bonet. Would let her touch my penis.
Dude, she looks
Would let her
so
touch my
good.
penis for sure.
I would.
Was there a
Yeah,
question?
so as we go along,
Oh, was there
what's
was
that?
there a question, or you just wanted to mark on the hot?
No. What I'm saying is like what. Well, I wanted to touch on how hot she was, but no, the idea that like, so she was Johnny Depp was her dad
Right.
essentially, and although he does know it, maybe he doesn't know it, based off of like how you see this character, he's essentially having sex with his daughter and kills her in the
Mm-hmm.
process. There's like the whole like the raining blood scene, which is essentially like she died.
I don't know because the timeline is a little bit cloudy because like she's alive in the next morning, and then that's when the cops come and start asking questions about Toot Sweet, and the cops see her alive.
I, that's the one thing that's a little
I
confused.
mean, unless
It's a little confused. Like, and now
no,
I think
hold on,
that
but
it would,
unless you're
as I
saying
watched this movie,
that whole interaction with the cops and the cops seeing that she's still alive that morning after is just like his imagination.
no, because I think that she's dead.
No,
I
that's
think that
okay.
like everyone that he interacted with, that's part of the quote unquote case, they end up dead.
Right, but the morning at no
Because
no no
here's why I
but the
think that,
morning
because Johnny
no
Friendly, like
but the
that is
morning after, like the cops go to see him like after he's did his daughter, and they see her alive. Is that an actual thing that happened, or was that just made up in his mind?
I have a feeling that was made up in his mind, only because the reason why I say that is because everyone that's involved in this case, and although maybe there's like this mixture of like souls involved here, but Johnny Friendly is killing all the people involved in this case that would know him and recognize him, and Johnny Friendly is trying to cover his tracks so that he doesn't have to give his soul over to the devil. But in reality, it's just like time is running out. Like the noose is tightening as this case goes along, and everyone, yes, all these people have had to die, or are killed, but Louis Cipher is gonna get his, he's gonna fulfill his contract. He's gonna get that payment. So it was all for naught, really. Like these deaths are just like happening, but it doesn't. It amounts to nothing in the end.
Wait a minute, because Margaret Mark, she knew Johnny, but then didn't recognize Harry Angel as Johnny.
But here's why she recognized him is because she was doing her weird like astrological bullshit, and the information that Harry was giving her is the same information that she knew from Johnny Friendly. And she was confused initially, but when she was doing it's like, wait, you're just like Johnny Friendly.
Favorite.
And I think she would have discovered, yeah, Johnny Favorite. And it's like she would have discovered that eventually, and so she was killed.
Okay.
He didn't realize that he was killing her, but like she was
Right.
killed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about. Like I think like the it's you essentially have two people in one body, and in certain circumstances, the other part takes over and kills the people that think that like they to cover his tracks to keep him from having to fulfill his contract with Louis
Sure.
Cipher. And ultimately, at the end, it all comes together like where it's just like there that wall has closed in. And it's like, oh, I'm the guy, and I have it's my time has come due. I don't know. It's a confusing film, but it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just I don't think I don't think Lisa Bonet's character is dead the morning after they do the deed. I think she dies sometime later.
What's the whole like deal with like the fucking like raining blood?
Hmm. I can't explain that just yet because the symbolism is kind of grotesque and everything, and and it would track uh, to to symbolize her death, but I don't think unless you're saying that I mean, yes, he is. He's an unreliable narrator, but I don't think that scene after they make love or or you know or whatever is something that he makes up in his mind. I don't. Yeah, 'cause it doesn't make sense. Is what I would say, and
I could have
I
sworn
know
he
it may
killed
yeah
her.
it may be they did, but it doesn't make sense to me in what was laid out because it doesn't make sense that he would then like make up these. Uh, I
But she
yeah,
does
she
end
does end
up
up dead.
dead,
Yes,
right?
we all agree, but
So is that Johnny
favorite.
uh favorite, or is that Louis Cipher that kills her?
I think it's I because I okay because you're right. There is a little bit of a lost time thing where he blacks out and Johnny Favorite manifests and he goes and kills people because we see that in the beginning with the doctor with the junkie doctor and he lets it he puts him in his bed to sleep it off and he supposedly goes to this diner to go have the doctor sleep off whatever drugs he was on and then he comes back to find him dead. So yeah, maybe that diner scene is all just bullshit, and
Well, that's the after effects of like after he shot him. Like he went to the diner, but he already like killed him.
or he still went to the diner, but then went back and killed him, and then and then went back out.
Just didn't like
Yeah,
we
we
don't
don't
see
see that,
that.
but
Yeah.
yeah, we don't know. We don't know what that scene, what order that diner scene is. Like whether it's him leaving the doctor to go sleep off the drugs, and he went to a diner to wait, but then he goes back and kills him, or he kills him and then goes back to the diner, and then goes to the diner and then comes back to find the doctor dead. So yeah, I don't know like what.
Yeah. Like these are all like great. I don't know what to think
Yeah,
about it. These are interesting theories about Angel
right.
Heart because I I based on how I saw it the
Hmm.
first time, what I had guessed was that it's more of like the soul of Johnny Favorite killing off the people associated that would like know about him and the case, and maybe trying to throw the scent off of Louis Cipher a little bit, but ultimately that doesn't work out. But it's just more of like it's a desperate attempt, and he kills off all these people that like even remotely know who Johnny Favorite is.
Okay, here's a theory. Maybe the blood rain thing while they're having sex isn't symbolic of him killing his daughter, but of like some great evil that's happening.
Or that too, yeah.
So not necessarily her death, like not like necessarily him killing, and then him having like this weird, out of sequence memory of like the cops being there after the morning after and seeing her alive, and then later on finding her dead, because he killed her somehow. Wait, I forget what the flashback scene was with Lisa Bonet's character. Did he?
I feel like that, like he thought that she, like what I thought it was is that he thought she was alive afterwards, but it turned out that she
Dead
was
the whole
like
time.
strangled to death, or like, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just so weird because
Because when he left, so initially when he left, she was alive, but then when he came
right.
back,
Okay, so
it turned out that
right when the
she was dead.
cops noted like seeing her and like supposedly sitting up in bed, she was actually dead, and the police thought that she was asleep.
It's something like that. Yeah, like I said, I need to go back and watch it again, but that's what I understood.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of.
Because there's this scene like where when we go to the flashback, like she's being like
Right.
choked during like sex, and I think he killed her that
I
way.
see. Oh, right. So, but again, like she's sitting up in the bed in the morning, and so I don't know if to take that literally or to take that like as him like filling in the gaps, and the cops seeing her lifeless body in bed, thinking that she's asleep, but like Johnny Favorite thinking that imagining that she's still awake. Like she's awake and she sits up in the bed, and then the cops just note like that, oh, the bang the local girl or whatever, or whatever the heck they said.
It's a great question. I don't. I would need more viewings of Angel Heart to like really like kind of flesh out my theory. But just based off like what I saw the first time, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird because I don't know what to make of that scene, because like if it was a little bit more clear, like what was hallucination, what was memories, kind of like in I mean, not that I need everything like so spoon fed to me, because I'm an idiot. But like an example of Shutter Island there are distinct delineations between like hallucination and real life, more or less. There are like some fantastical elements during the fantasy, like the vision of Dolores being wet, um, or like or with like blood gushing from her stomach and whatever where she gets shot. But in Angel Heart, it's a little bit more muddled. Um, and maybe that's the mark of the genius, the director. I don't know. I just don't know how to take this movie, or how to take the scenes where we see, where we're supposedly seeing Johnny, or Harry Angel, being Harry Angel, but like I don't know where those scenes fall in chronologically. Like the diner scene, did that happen after he killed the doctor, or was it before he killed the doctor? Uh, you know, I don't know. Like,
Right.
is the morning after, their great love fest, um, and the cops coming, to ask him questions, and then noting that one cop noting that he sees, Lisa Bonet's character like sitting up in bed, is that supposed to be taken literally, like she was alive and the cops saw her live at that time, or was she dead, like face down?
Already dead.
There just aren't, like I just mentioning that, like there's a different, like in Shutter Island, there's a differentiation between mostly anyways, between the hallucinations and like what's actually happening. And not that, yeah, that doesn't happen here.
That doesn't happen here,
Right.
because you're not really sure what's real, what's not real, and you also don't know, like, as far as like Johnny Favorite goes, is Harry Angel even like a real personality, or is he always Johnny Favorite and we just don't realize it? Because we never
Right.
see
Yeah, it's a real Jekyll Hyde
Johnny
thing.
Favorite.
So.
Yeah, I mean it is a lot of like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because we don't, but we don't know when is he Dr. Jekyll and when is he Mr. Hyde.
Right. Like, yeah. In all the depictions of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, there's always some sort of transformation sequence or something, and like there's a delineation between Jekyll and Hyde, so we know who's who. But but in this one, it's a little bit hard to discern, like what's. I mean, yes, there are like the visions and stuff, like the woman like cleaning the blood, or the memory of Johnny Favorite going up to Harold Angel in the at Times Square. But yeah, at the V Day party,
At the B-Day party. Yeah.
VE Day. Um, so yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to take this.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah, it's a tough movie, like, and this is one that requires, I think, multiple viewings. And what do you think of Louis Cypher? What do you think of Robert De Niro's portrayal of
I think
Lucifer?
visually, I think they're a little heavy-handed, to be honest. With like
Did you know, like, right away, like, that this
I
he was
mean, how could you
like
look at him
super,
and
like,
not
dude,
think
this
that?
this guy.
It's just like so obvious.
Yeah, that is true. You know what's funny though is that, like, literally
Hmm.
he, at this time in his career, he almost
Oh, that's
played
right.
Jesus in Last Temptation of Christ. And the only reason he didn't do it is because, one, he didn't think he was right for the part, but he told Scorsese, he's like, listen, if you can't find anyone else, and if like that's the only thing that's keeping
Uh,
you from making the picture, give me a call. I'll be there. But because initially
right.
Robert De Niro was
Before
going to
they
be
found Willem
Christ in
Dafoe.
Last Temptation of Christ.
Oh
What would
yeah,
that have
absolutely.
been? That would have been a way different movie.
I mean, you can't look at Robert.
I'm almost curious
Yeah,
as
what
to
could
what
have
that
been,
would have looked
right?
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but what did you think of his portrayal as Satan? Like, was it?
Well, no, I mean
Yeah,
visually, I
it was
thought it was very
heavy-handed, but did
heavy-handed.
you like it?
That it's like, oh, this guy's like some like probably demonic. It's like you look at the guy, like, duh. But in terms of the portrayal, I thought it was very subdued. You know, it was. I know he's yeah. That's why he gets
He's in
an
the film for
appearance
like
credit,
10
not a
minutes.
starring credit. If you look in the if you paid attention
Yeah.
in the credits, in the opening credits, it says with appearances by Robert De Niro. So like he's not even the star.
Right.
Um, I did, yeah. It was a
I thought he
very
did a great job as Satan. I
subtle,
thought he
very
did a
restrained
you know,
portrayal.
just
With and they definitely allowed the visual storytelling to happen. So I appreciate that. And again, I think it's a really good portrayal of Satan. Because like he's not gonna come with like you know with massive fire and like and cloven hooves and horns, breathing fire at you. He's just gonna come at he's gonna come at you very you know he's gonna come at you very slyly and very kind of even kind of coy. You know.
he's gonna
Yeah, false
find a
sense of
way to kind
security.
of lure you into his thing. Yeah. And yeah, I think he did a great job. To be honest, I really like the movie. Um, unless you want to rate it.
Yeah, no extra thoughts for me. I'm gonna. I'm torn between a 3.5 and a 4. You know what? For now, I'm just gonna say until multiple viewings, this is a 3.5 film for me.
Stop reading off my notes.
What?
That's exactly where I'm at too. Because I think that I'm gonna like this more I view it, just because there's so many like different clues and things that you can like decipher and figure out. And I would love to watch this with you, because sometimes that helps us flesh out these movies. Maybe next time you come over, we'll watch Angel Heart and we'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm at a 3.5 with the caveat that I might move up, because I do like this movie a lot.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It might just be I need multiple viewings, but yeah, it's at least right now a solid 3.5.
Sweet. Yeah, 3.5 for me too.
All right. Yep.
Solid.
All right. There you have it, folks. That's our review for Angel Heart. Both Robert and I give this 3.5. Yeah, maybe it's just like the directing, or maybe it's just like the editing of this movie that just kind of kind of makes kind of loses us. But maybe we might do a redux, and after maybe at least another viewing, we can give you a better our more
Yeah, I think
more more analytical thoughts about this movie.
we'll come back to. Well, I think we'll come back to this one, because I think there's a lot here that I think does require more than just the one viewing. Because this is both the first time for both of us,
Yeah, that's
right?
correct. So we might do, we'll probably do a redux of this movie, but yeah, until then, that's our rating and our review for Angel Heart. Um, what is it? Next week will be Tonight was the penultimate for Devil in the Details month. Next week, the final Tuesday of the month, we'll be reviewing Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and Al
Oh man,
Pacino.
I cannot wait.
Oh yeah,
Keanu
yeah,
Reeves.
and hopefully you'll see why I thought that because when we initially watched Haxon and I came and I thought of watching Nefarious also, I was really torn on whether or not to pair it with Haxon or Devil's Advocate because I think it works with Devil's Advocate as well. But I think
Keep that in
yeah,
mind as I
yeah,
watch this.
but I do think as a kind of a juxtaposition, it was stronger with Haxon.
Yeah, Nefarious and Haxon worked really
Yeah,
well
as
together.
yeah, as juxtaposition. But I hope you see why I thought it also could have worked with Devil's Advocate.
But yeah, dude, I cannot wait to talk about Devil's Advocate. I've been wanting to watch this movie for a long
Is this your
time.
first time viewing?
This is my first time
Oh
watching it.
wow. Okay. Yeah, this is at
Yeah.
least my 10th time viewing it, if not more,
Oh shit.
if
Okay.
not more. Not saying
Damn.
of course, as a kid I watched it, a lot of it for a lot of other things. But as I gotten older, I did really appreciate the undertones and themes of this movie. Uh,
I'm looking
so
forward to
yeah,
it.
and I hope you guys look forward to it too. All right, with that, that'll bring us to the end of our stream tonight. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I know Rob always has a good time.
Tuesday is my favorite day of the week, Andy,
Yeah,
so I
I
had a
hope
great
it's
time.
all your favorite days of the week as well. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to check out the library of other content that we have. The Circular Jerk's main podcast, old episodes of Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, with the movie review, and our Rob's Gaming Show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, formerly Twitter, now X, and Letterboxd at Podcast COJ, and Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, we thank you for joining us this night. Come back next week, and we'll do it all over again. Have a good one.